Welcome to part two, questions and answers about the financial GPS. As always, you can message me. It's best to connect one-on-one for a conversation. And then ultimately we do free, complimentary, no obligation savings analysis to show you what this solution could do for you. And then you can make a decision from there. But for today, I want to go over a couple questions that we get. And this is part two. And it'll just be 5 minutes with me today. And a big question is, can I just refinance or modify my current loans? My bank says they'll give me an amazing interest rate. And remember that although your interest rate and payment amount may go down, most times your term goes up in a refinance, meaning you will be paying interest longer. And don't forget, there's always fees that are tacked on for those services. Banks are a business after all, and they need to make money. And they're very, very smart about how they do that. You may have heard banks point out that you can refinance for a lower interest rate and payment amount, but continue to pay what you've always been paying in order to save interest. Now, that sounds good in theory, but the reality is that most people don't do this for very long. They find other ways to spend that freed up money. And we know what we're speaking about because we have a lot of background experience in the mortgage industry. And in fact, the reason the owners of our company stepped out of the mortgage industry and started helping people get out of debt was because they saw that the same people were coming back to refinance their loans over and over, essentially hitting that restart button on their mortgage every 5 years or so. And they were never gaining a substantial amount of equity and were never paying off their homes. And virtually every time they came in to refinance, their financial situation was worse. They had racked up more and more debt and their credit score had gotten worse. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes people need to refinance or modify their loans for certain reasons, specifically if they're cashing out of equity. And we understand that. But for the majority of individuals, refinancing and resetting your mortgage is not always the best answer for the consumer, even though the financial institutions like to make it appear so. Another question we got is, my brother told me about some other debt elimination plan that was free and cost a lot less than what we have here. Why don't I just use that one? Well, there are a lot of free and low cost debt management programs out there, but our financial GPS is the only in its class. And let me tell you why. Every other debt management plan that we've seen doesn't create a truly effective, dynamic, and personalized plan. Instead, they simply provide generalized debt management ideas that are not necessarily what fits best in your financial situation. These ideas include sending X amount of dollars extra every month toward a specific debt, or paying off one debt balance first, or the highest interest rate, or the lowest balance. And although these one-size-fits-all plans might save you some time and some interest on your debts, the fact is that these cookie cutter plans are not the most time and interest savers mathematically possible. By contrast, this financial GPS formulates a plan around your income, your expenses, and your debts. That way, you know the plan is doable for you. And because the plan is built around you, you don't have to refinance or modify your loans or find a way to increase your income or a way to decrease your expenses. The next thing is, other debt elimination plans don't adjust for real life like our financial GPS does. What happens if you didn't get paid for a certain amount of days in your last pay period, you got paid less than usual, or when you have an unexpected doctor bill that happens to come up in the mail? Or what if you had a bonus that you didn't expect? What kind of changes are you going to make to your plan? Other debt elimination plans simply provide you with a static monthly plan that doesn't account for the constant ups and downs that we all go through financially every month. No one's expenses are exactly the same every month, right? So why should your debt management plan be exactly the same every month? This financial GPS is dynamic, and it's always going to give you the absolute best possible scenario every day, every week, every month for managing your debt. Also, Other debt elimination plans rely on you to guess how quickly you want to get out of debt rather than calculating how fast you can really get out of debt. Long experience has taught us that it matters. The matters of debt elimination, people are generally unsure about what the next best step is to most strategically pay off their debt. And asking you to decide how much you want to send to your debts every month is like asking a personal trainer how many push-ups you want to do and then telling you, okay, that sounds good, do that every day. Why even have a personal trainer if they're going to have you do the same thing every day and every month? The financial GPS, on the other hand, examines your financial numbers, your debt accounts, your finances, and it calculates exactly what the most effective strategy is for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And it bases all of its interest saving strategies around how you want to live your life, never forcing you to do anything. And if your finances change, as they always do, the financial GPS plan changes around you. This results in you paying off your debts as quickly as you possibly can, which results in you saving as much interest as possible. And if there's a mortgage involved, it'll help you gain equity over 50% faster than the bank's plan. It's true that there are other debt elimination plans out there that are less expensive or even free, but it's like comparing apples and oranges. It's like wondering why a car costs more than a bike. They're not the same thing. In fact, some programs that people mistakenly think are similar to the financial GPS aren't even about debt management. I'll give you an example. A certain green colored leaf company, for example, while it does a good job at budgeting, it's not built to tell you how to best manage your debt and save the most interest mathematically possible. It's just not the purpose of that, a specific product. Strategic debt management and elimination is the purpose of this financial GPS. Join me next time. I'll go into part 3 and answer some more questions that we frequently get. But as always, feel free to message me and then we can connect for a quick chat, or send me your email address and ask me to let you know next time I'm having a small group Zoom where I go over the whole program from top to bottom and then have a question and answer time. I love connecting with you. Thank you so much for listening in today.